Buffs Nation, what's going on? We're going to continue our preview for the upcoming games this season, knocking out rapid fire all week long. You'll get one every day. We're going to dive into each game as we prepare because the Buffs have an opportunity to once again shock the world. Now, the slate of opponents are going to get tougher and tougher as you get into the Big 12 because a lot of those teams are ranked a lot higher than I even anticipated when I started really digging into it. So we're going to jump into that. This video here today is presented by our partners over at US. Make sure you check them out. Link in the description below. They're giving 125% up to your first $2,000 in your first 3 deposits. Check them out. BetUS. Link in the description below. Let's dive into Nebraska. Yeah, the team up the highway. We played them last season. Pulled out a dub in that game of 36-14. So now we're traveling to Lincoln to get to see that Red Sea. So let's talk about what Matt Rhule's got going and what you guys need to anticipate in said game. So as y'all know, this game will be on September 7th. The good thing is that on that day, we've already got a time. They're going to play 5:30 Mountain, which is basically prime time, 7:30 Eastern. And yeah, Prime gets to play on prime time against Nebraska. And so Nebraska's was an interesting one in looking them up. They've got a lot going for them as far as, growth. Matt Rhule has been putting in work. So as far as Matt Rhule as a coach, as y'all know him, he coached in the NFL with the Carolina Panthers, spent time with Baylor, started off at Temple, rotated around. He's done a good job everywhere he's gone. NFL stint wasn't the best, but he's done good things overall. And so now he's coming to Nebraska and he's trying to bring them back to the glory days of what Nebraska has done. And so as far as matchups go, we played against them. We synced what Nebraska is and what they're capable of. And honestly, Buffs beat that tail. That's always a good thing to see, right? And so returning production wise, they're bringing back 71% total on the team, 72% offense, 70 on defense, which that ranks around 32nd on the offensive side, 30th on defense, 20th nationally. So a good amount of players, right? Bringing in 9 transfers with 29 in their incoming recruiting class. So they actually had a really big rookie class. That's headlined by our guy, Deion Sanders, which is, one of the top quarterbacks in that class. He flipped from, he was at Georgia. He moved out there to Georgia, to Buford High School, thinking he was there to continue to recruit, and then he flipped over to Nebraska, went back to, where his dad played ball. And so this game right here is going to have, of course, some good emotion. Last season, the way Colorado and the Buffs just swooped in and shocked the nation and started off super hot. This is going to be another game that's going to be important for them. So Nebraska with Deion Sanders, being a freshman, I'm always leery about playing freshmen. Nebraska's going to have to because last year's quarterback play was just awful. Awful. They're ranked 123rd with 18 points per game, and their quarterback was just bad. Period. Sims was awful. And they tried. It just was awful. Defensively, though, they were 13th nationally in allowing points at 18.5 and 11th in yards allowed. And so they're expecting to improve on that. And we noticed in this game against Nebraska last year just how stout their defense was. They basically, the entire first half was a dogfight. And then Colorado took over. Shedeur took over and the game blew up. And so you notice that in the game. And so the expectation here is that with the experience on the offensive side of the ball, Colorado should have an opportunity to continue to show out. And so when I went through a lot of this stuff, right now, the key players to really look at is Deion Sanders as well as their running back, Gabe Ervin. He got hurt last season, but they're expecting him to take over and be the top back. So he's one of those players to really keep your eyes out for. And then when you go into their defensive side of the ball, right, you got, Jamari Butler. He led them in tackles for loss last season at 8.5, as well as sacks at 5.5. He earned all Big Ten honorable mention. So he's one to, that offensive line that Colorado's rebuilding is going to have to be able to shut and slow him down at least. And then I guess you call him a rover or a DB. You got Isaac Gifford. He led the team in tackles with 86. He's going to be one to keep an eye out for. Knowing him, he's going to be moving around, probably trying to trail Travis Hunter. But the good thing for the Buffs is that wide receiver room is stacked. I did a report on the returning production for Colorado. And yeah, that's not going to be a concern, especially with the players that's been brought in, with the talent that's there. That's not something to be concerned with. So I know he's going to have to trail probably Travis, but we'll have to see what that looks like. Hop in the comments. Let me know what y'all think. How y'all feeling about this game? Let me go ahead and give y'all some of the ESPN FPI as well as my leans and thoughts. But first, word from our sponsor. Shout out to BetUS. They're sponsoring this video. They're doing big stuff right now. As you can see on the board, we have Travis Hunter as well as Deion Sanders up here for the Heisman. Shedeur is a plus 3,000 with Travis at plus 4,000 to win this elusive award. And on BetUS, you can put in that bet. Right now, you can get 125% on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000 if you leverage our link in the description below as well as in the pinned comment. We're excited about what BetUS is doing. The site's very easy to move. They also give you a 10% back net loss twice a year. Yeah, I don't think anybody else is doing that in the industry. Showing y'all love as the sports bettor. They're making sure that you're getting taken care of. The sports bets player, we want you all to feel good and comfortable. But this number here at plus 3,000 and plus 4, it wouldn't hurt to put about $10 on that bad boy because you get that dub. Whew, that's a monster. Definitely worth your time. So check them out. Here you've got BetUS, link in the description below as well as in the comments. You get 125% on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000. BetUS. Enjoy. So the question now is how do we feel about Nebraska and Colorado? How do we feel about Colorado winning this game? Well, to me, so ESPN's FPI, their football power index, has Nebraska sitting at 41st, which means that, they're in the top 50 team overall, and the anticipation is for them to really jump as far as the rankings go. And so for me, I had to sit down and, really think about it. I'm like, okay, do I feel like Nebraska's going to really, be a problem, right? Like offensively, they're 104th. Defensively, they're 6th, though. So they're anticipating them to still have a really good defense. Puts them about 6th at actually 40th right now. I'm going to say this. I do think that Nebraska is going to be a challenge, but I think that the Buffs will be able to meet that. I think the offensive line is going to be a lot better. I think that with the offensive line being better, that means the quarterback play is going to be even more exceptional. And that means the run game is going to show up. Because last season, the run game was a little bit here and there. It wasn't as elite as you needed to be, especially for the way that Shedeur was playing. So when we preview the positions, we'll talk more in detail about that. But my lean is Colorado wins this game on the road by a touchdown. That's what I'm going for. So in prime time, they're going to show up, win that bad boy. Especially because Dylan Raiola is a freshman. So they're going to be able to, that defense is a lot more stout in Colorado than it was last season. Those dudes are starting to gel. And based upon the practice reports, it's sounding promising. So that's what I'm thinking here. Hop in the comments. Let your boy know your thoughts. How y'all feeling about the Buffs going into this season? Do you feel like Colorado's got a good chance of winning this? Got a good chance of winning the game against Nebraska? Love to hear from y'all. All right, you can check out the playlist for all of the game previews right up here. Check those out. Make sure you subscribe there if you want to see more of the content. But we appreciate y'all pulling up. We're going to have more content coming out now. A lot of football stuff as the news drop. We're going to be getting caught up. We're now less than 2 weeks. We're about 2 weeks away from game week. Get stoked. We'll talk soon.